Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the vlog. We are working on the solid axle Ultra 4 tonight. We're going to be working on the rear shocks. We're changing that up a little bit, and then I'm going to be working on rewiring the car. So let's get to it. So what are we doing, Joe? Ooh, shock.
Didn't you just tell them what we're doing? We're working on OSO.
But why? What specifically? Okay, so I'll talk to him. I got this. Since you don't want to talk. So, since
how
Joe.
rude.
Fine. You talk.
No, go ahead. It's all you.
It's all you, Joe.
It's all you.
No, you talk.
So we're basically rebuilding the suspension on this car.
Really?
At least on the rear.
Why?
Because we are going from that long shock down to a standard coilover.
So this car, when it was built, we originally put the shock up here. And as you can see, that's a long distance from there all the way down to there versus there to there. And the reason why is we built a custom shock that had essentially this shock stacked on top of this shock. But since this car ran in the 4800 class, so you can only have one shock. But now it's running in the 4400 class, so it's getting two shocks. So it'll have the coilover and the bypass just like that. So we'll have two shocks. Joe's gonna get to work cutting this off all there here. We gotta pull this panel out, and then the meth tank is on the other side, so he's gotta pull that out. And then in the meantime, we got our Switch Pro unit in. So I'm gonna be working on cleaning all this up, getting that set up, and getting the dash. Well, honestly, I think I'm just gonna cut most of that out because we don't need the gauges, don't need the upper bar. We're gonna change it all. So let's get to it.
Man. Not quite sure what that was. Scary. I wonder if... Oh, I bet you that fell down right there. Yep. That fell off the tire. That was a little scary. Okay. Back to what we were doing over here. This car is fighting me, but it's not designed to take apart, so it's taking a little while. But here you go. So the next step now, I'm just gonna clean these things up so they're not so choppy. You can kind of see from cutting and doing a little bit of grinding. Been working on it for probably about an hour now to get it down to there, just trying to avoid everything. I am going to get about a 120 grit and go to town on getting this thing cleaned up so we can start figuring out how we're gonna mount the new shocks.
All right, Joe's back there cutting. That's getting a little boring. So we're gonna come up to work on the Switch Pro. There we go. Okay, so we got instructions. We've got our legends. These are the stickers that you put on the buttons so you can tell what to do. And they make, through the years, they've started to make so many different ones of these that just about everything you can think of they have. Got all those. And this is the actual solid state unit itself for the Switch Pro. And the switch assembly. Check this out. There it is. So we're gonna go to this. Take two. This is what we have in the car right now. It's a switch panel, kind of cool. Has all the different switches, buttons, and everything, and it works. But at least something to be a little desired on the organizational standpoint. And everything is exposed. It's still traditional fuses, relays. Yeah, we can do a little better with the Switch Pros. And the Switch Pros has some really awesome features. You can control it with your phone, so it's all remote. So in this case, one of the things Corey thought was cool is put the starter button on the Switch Pro so he could have remote starts. So, remote start race car. A lot simpler to go with this. We have our wiring, which we're going to use part of the old wiring harness. With this, did a few things. We got our battery cable, a mounting plate for the actual Switch Pro unit. Got our control cable, I guess you could call this. This goes from the unit itself to the panel itself. Long, so it helps with mounting anywhere. So let's start to take a look at what we got to do. A lot of sanding and flap disking and cut-off wheeling and Joe cussing, and
There was no cussing.
it was silent. So now we are waiting on the shocks for this. We got a couple delays for material because everything that's going on, but these guys are the same length, so we're going to borrow these for mock-up. You can just pull one off actually for now. We don't need them both. But Joe's going to pull this shock off so we can figure out where the mount's going to go. And honestly, based on the angles, we got to figure out here a little bit. I'm going to kick forward a little. It'll probably be coming up right in here somewhere. So we'll just get a couple tabs in there. Be pretty easy and straightforward. Oh wow, you almost got it in.
Almost.
So you're up. You're not at full bump then, are you?
Doesn't look like it, no. But it should be close.
Oh yeah, I can see the bumps are aired up. Let's get a floor jack and lift the car up a little bit, and then let's air the bumps out and put it all the way to full bump and see where everything's sitting. We went to set this at full droop, let the air out of the bumps because we thought it was sitting on the bumps, and it's like something was holding it up, but there's nothing underneath the car. And Joe, push on that back end. You can see, do it again. It doesn't make any sense. So we got to looking around, and Joe found, check this out. This is bad, actually. The drive shaft is too long. So right now it is fully compressed. And so as the car comes down, it's wanting to shorten the drive shaft. Yeah, that's not good. But we are swapping these drive shafts out to some bigger stuff, 1480 stuff. We just got to make sure it's the right length and verify everything before we install it. So that's interesting. So Joe's going to get under there and pull the drive shaft out now, and then we'll reset this all at full bump. So check it out. That's what happens when the drive shaft's not bottoming out. That's pretty wild. Fits beautifully. It's almost like it was made for that. So with this, when you're setting your shock, especially for trailing arms, one of the biggest things we want to make sure of is that at full compression, which means when the shock's all the way closed, we want to make sure this is 90. So you got to take a couple measurements and just verify some stuff, which even though the arm comes up a little bit there, it's going to be close. So we'll use a 90 on that. And oh wait, no, we already did. Yes, so that is 90 right there. And then from the back, we'll kick it in a little bit so it's parallel with that upper tube there. And that should work well. We're just gonna make a couple tabs coming off this tube, and then we'll reinforce it from the side. And now there's all the room in the world for a bypass shock. And speaking of which, let's test fit. Bypass. And that's an 18-inch bypass, which fits perfect with the stroke because it's usually about 5.5 to 6 inches back. And because leverage, it gets more of the stroke of the 18-inch versus the 16-inch. We got to figure out a little bit of a mount here because that's different, but honestly, that's not too terribly hard. We got some different things we can do, but I like it. What do you think, Joe? It's pretty cool.
I think it's gonna work.
Show from the side.
You're in the way.
I'm not.
Oh, there we go.
This is a 3.5-inch 5 tube. We're gonna make some modifications, and we may use this one, or we may go with a different one with bigger tubes on it. We haven't decided yet, but we can make anything. We have a variety of ideas. But yeah, it's a big shot. Has 3 compression adjusters and 2 rebound. And then this one was set up actually for a full circulation cooling system. So it would come out, this is a one-way, it's just like a bypass tube. It would come out here and it would allow it to come back in here. So you run it through a cooler and it keeps the fluid cycling to keep it cooler, especially when it's moving a lot. Joe is going to work on some tabs for the shock. He's going to come out on the plasma table, and while he's doing that, I'm going to keep working on the switch pro. Here's the switch panel. I'm going to be taking a lot of this off, but I'm still going to be using one of these so we can run the switch pro into it and then the wires connect. So I'm thinking, yeah, we'll leave this one on here and then mount the switch pro on here. And I got to figure out where some of the wiring is running and if we still need relays on anything. Hey, panel version 2. Craziness going on. So we're going to connect, and the reason we left this here is we're going to connect these wires to the junction here, and so then it's a point where we can connect where we had before, and then the switch pro goes in that side, so they have their individual spots. Now I got to kind of figure out what's going to go where. I need to determine a couple units that need to use relays. So I got to go through that real quick, but other than that, we're making some good progress. I'm working on the panel here, and I went ahead and put the positive side back on. We're going to use that again, but I want to run the power wire directly. It's going to run from the power straight to the switch pro, but the cord they come with is a little bit longer than I want, so I'm actually going to cut this side down and shorten it, and then add a crimp-on eyelet on this side so we can still retain the fuse that they send with it. So we're going to shorten this side, add another eyelet on this side, and then we'll have a nice clean wire install. All right, there we go. So now we have the wire the perfect length. It's a little bit flexible, so it's not going to be super tight, but it fits perfect. And we got the fuse. I'll come back in here and put some heat shrink over this to make sure that's protecting against any type of potential grounding. And now we got to start trimming these, and we're going to run these to each individual slot.
I'm just about ready to cut out one of these shock mount tabs.
Wow, is there anywhere left on that table to cut?
We'll find some.
That plate's about gone.
Yes.
It's going. Weld washer on the outside.
You don't want one on the inside?
No, outside.
What the heck do I need 4 of them for? You had me dig around to find 4 and you only want 2.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We're not even over there.
There's 2 on each side. I don't understand this bracket, Joe. What you got going on here? Looks like a wishbone.
Maybe it is. Because it goes up like, yay!
Oh, like that.
Slide it in right there.
Okay. You're totally in the way.
I am, but I need to measure this real quick because I think this got moved.
What's that?
This here.
The angle? You just using a builder square to make sure we're at 90?
Yeah, it's pretty close.
All right, shock is now tacked on. Next thing to do is hook up the hoist, and we're going to lift it up all the way to full droop and check our angles there. She flexed. So that is a very good angle top to bottom. Nothing even close to binding. You got clearance up front to the reservoir. Ugh. Nothing touching. Looks good. Looks real good. Real good. I am going to finish up the Switch Pro tonight. So Joe's got to go. It's late. See you, buddy.
Bye, everybody.
We'll see you later.
Later.
So with Joe taking off, we've got the shock mount all mounted up. We're going to continue rocking out the Switch Pro, wrap that up, and that will be it. To wiring the Switch Pro, they give you a diagram for everything. And one thing that's good to know, especially on the 9100, is some of the circuits have a 35 amp load, which is really good, especially if you're running fans or a fuel pump or other things, because the way it works is, you see here on this diagram, it shows wire 15 and 16 is great. If you want 35 amps, you have to combine it, or you can run two 17 amp circuits separately. So when you're looking at the wiring diagram compared to the actual wiring, we got two gray wires right there, and all we have to do is run these both on the same circuit for a 35 amp load. All right, so circuit 1, it has a 20 amp max, so we don't combine that. So we're going to run it right here. So all we will do is figure out the path. So we want that to run there and then there. So we'll go ahead and cut that, strip it back, and then I'm going to use these forks. If you can see that there. There you go, basic connector. The fork allows it to slide in, and it'll still get a positive connection, but if you have to do anything, you can pop it right out, versus the eyelet where you have to take the screw completely out. Okay. Do that.
This one's not any better.
Now crimp it. All right. So now that guy is ready to go in its new home, right there. Oh, two. Okay, update time. Here we are. So we've got all the wires now connected to the junction here, and these two wires, the pink and white, are used for controllers. So what we can do is we can actually connect it to the Holley system, so that if, say, our temperature gets too hot, it'll run a signal to the Switch Pros, which will now cause it to trigger to turn our radiator fans on. So they're two really good systems that work great together, and they're super easy because all we have to do is connect this output to the input of the Holley system. The blue wire here, we use that to actually turn on the Switch Pros. You can typically want to connect that to a switch power, and in our case, because all this is switched, that is on the same junction here. And then lastly, we've got our wire here that runs out to the switch panel, and we've got that. We'll position that where it needs to go. So you can see it definitely cleaned up a lot. It's much simpler, and this is doing everything that the other switch setup was doing with all the relays, the fuses, the switches. This is everything now, and you can see why from a race standpoint, or even any kind of custom car build, this works great. We sat down, looked at it, and it looks like we're going to have the starter, fuel 1, fuel 2, the fresh air breather, radiator 1, radiator 2, and then the tranny cooler will be set up there. And then I think that's it. So now all we got to do is get it mounted in there, powered up, and that will be it. We definitely made some good progress tonight. We got a good jump on getting the coilover set up in the back, as well as cleaning up the wiring and getting the Switch Pro installed. We'll pick this up in the next episode and show you the complete installation of the Switch Pro, kind of where we're at with the coilovers, and hopefully this thing will be on weight here in the next few days. And then all we got to do is wait for the other coilover parts to come in, and we can get those built and wrapped up. Hope you guys like this video. We're going to be trying to crank out a lot more content. We know that everybody wants to see more of what we have going down here, so we're going to start trying to crank out a lot more videos as we go. So if you are not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell so you can be notified when we upload videos. And speaking of subscribers, we are over 9,000 subscribers now. We do a giveaway every 500 subscribers. And so we take all of our subscribers, put them in a random name generator. Well, out pops a name. So the winner for our 9,000 subscriber giveaway is Michael Caraway. Michael Caraway, you won a t-shirt, and I think we have some more Team Olympus posters or a beanie, whichever one you choose. Either way, make sure you message me. I'll put my email down below. Again, that was Michael Caraway, and we'll have the name somewhere on here. So if you like this video, make sure you give us a big thumbs up and talk to us in the comments. We try to respond to a lot of comments, and we love hearing what you guys have to say. Well, Joe's gone for the night, so he got his fist bump, so fist bump for you.